All right. So today the thing is that we're getting into is perspective drawing and what we would call obliques and isometrics. Okay. So the last thing, multi-views, was learning how to take something that was in perspective and change it into this. If I go to my classroom page and let's go to TechCAD, the thing I just posted is this. Okay, and this is kind of like your first attempt at a drawing, but this is just a simple cube. And in this case, I did say change one thing and said that in this oblique perspective, we're going to use a 30-degree angle as well. But in isometric, so we have a couple of things that we want to be cognizant of. One is the x-axis, which you can see kind of just cruising right down here. And the other thing are these lines that trail off into space. And we're going to call that a vanishing line, okay? So when I get down to my drawing, I'm just going to draw a line right here, and I'm going to shoot it out into space, and I'm going to say, okay, this represents the x-axis. Now in an oblique, we're going to always see the front, or it could be the right or left, right on the x-axis, okay? In an isometric, we're going to see neither side actually touching the x-axis, but they're both breaking away from it, okay? So in this case, I would draw a line out at 30 degrees. And you got to, for this unit, be able to just remember how to, if I could get this would be great. You got to remember how to be able to draw a line at a specific angle. So like in this case, if I wanted to draw a line that was 30 or 40, I would use the at symbol. So I say shift 2, which is at, and I'll say 40, which is the length I want. And then I use angle, which is the less than symbol, or shift comma. So if you look at, we got to look at the command window right now where it's flashing. Down on the bottom, it says at 40, angle. And in this case, I would say 30. Okay. And then on this side, 30 degrees, we're still 30 degrees relative to the x-axis, but we're over in this direction. Okay, so if I type in 30 again, it's going to shoot it over here. So really, this is 30 degrees, not past 90, but behind 180, right? This is 180 over here, so 30 degrees out in this direction is 150. So in this case, I could say at 40, angle 150. If that gets confusing, I can always mirror it, right? Now, I don't need this. There is no reason I need this at all to do the drawing, but I just did want you guys to see that if I go ahead and dimension this, that's 30, and that is also 30, okay? I just had to type in 150 to get to the 30 out in this direction, okay? So going to this simple rectangle, I'll do this one first, and hopefully this concept makes sense, okay? So I have a rectangle with a front view, and this rectangle is 4 by 2 by 6, okay? 4 by 2 by 6. So four wide across the front, 6 deep, and 2 high, okay? So if I were to draw the oblique of this, I would start with the front, which is the 4. So I'm going to go to object lines, and I'm just going to literally, now sometimes what's really cool is that you can just steal this, since this all sits on the x-axis. So if I go over 4, right, up 2, over 4, and then down 2, what I've drawn is exactly this. So there's no change, okay? Now the next thing I got to do is I got to go back 6 in this 30-degree direction, okay? So this, I think, is the only line I actually have to draw that makes this a unique image. So in this case, I would go, I'm just moving in the direction that I'm headed. And I do have students who will do this. You know, they say, okay, that's that. Or there, that's it. No, it's got to be specific. So at 6, angle 30. At this point, I can literally just copy. There's no reason to draw anything else. Copy that and copy that, right? As long as you drop it in the right spot. So there's the there. And I'll copy one more time. And I'll bring it right there. And I'll bring it right there. Okay. And this is what we call oblique. Okay. The reason it's oblique is, you just draw the word on it, oblique. Be real small. Oh, let's just scale it. Scale, make that about 3 times bigger. There we go. So this is the oblique perspective. This isometric perspective is going to look real similar, but not quite. Okay. So the right side of this is going to be identical. The difference in this case is that this front I have to utilize this space, the 30-degree vanishing line in the other direction. Okay. So in this case, I could just start and I could say, okay, at 4 angle, in this case, it's 150. Now, the cool thing here is any vertical line, any line that's truly parallel to the y-axis, I can just go ahead and copy. Any of this stuff is nothing will change right there. So that can all be copied. And this can be copied. And this can be copied. So got you there and there. And again, this one is not an oblique. This is called the isometric. Okay. Let's do this. Isometric. Okay. I will, just to check to make sure these things are going correctly and according to plan, I will have you guys do one thing on the first on a couple of these drawings, which is to do a dimension. Okay. But in this case, I don't want a linear dimension. I know that at this point that everybody can draw, or most everybody can draw a line that is 4 inches exactly along the x-axis. What I want to see is if you're doing it right from here. So in this case, what I would do is I would say, okay, I want you to use the, if you come up here to the right of dimension, you see the aligned dimension. So I'm going to say, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to click, let's say this and this, and you can see that keeps it aligned, right? If I use linear for anything that's on an angle like this, it typically won't work. Okay. Like if I try to dimension this as linear, that time it did. But anyhow, so I would say, just give me this dimension. If your drawing looks like mine, then that is perfect.